This is Crucifix from Satanic Tea Co, and you're listening to the Dan Chan Show.
Crucifix, pleasure to have you on the show. How's things is it sunny Calgary right now?
It's actually pretty gloomy. Things are doing good, but yeah, it's pretty gloomy and cold the last couple of days. I think we're getting rained out for the next bit here.
Do you get much summer over there?
Yeah, I'd say it's like we pretty much get no fall or spring. It's pretty much blistering plus 30 Celsius or negative 30 Celsius. Most of the half and half, essentially.
I've got you. Well, it's a pleasure to have on the show, and I'm pleased because there's just so much to chew on with you, and I was scratching my head as where to start. I mean, we've got clothing, tea, and now music. If you don't mind, I'd like to start at the beginning. This is like a chicken and egg situation. What came first? Why the love of tea? And did you ever think you'd be doing songs about your blends?
Oh, yeah, totally. What first? So I guess the idea started in 2016. I was on the road touring and like working for bands on tour, and coming home is like the common predicament when you're touring a lot, is trying to find a job.
Yeah.
Trying to start an online business where eventually I could like make money and be on the road at the same time. When I was growing up, I had a clothing company called Nar Candy. It was kind of like a ripoff of Johnny Cupcakes clothing, but with candy instead of cupcakes, I guess. But as a 15-year-old, I did pretty good selling T-shirts. So I decided, like, why can't I do this as a 27-year-old?
Yeah.
But yeah, the clothing was not selling. People didn't really care about another black craft cult-esque T-shirt company. I decided to have tea as like the side piece of the clothing brand. And people just really liked the tea way more than the T-shirts. And that's pretty much, we just kind of rebranded after the first year as strictly a tea company that had T-shirts on the side.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, playing bands like pretty much since I was a child, like 11 years old. Haven't been in like an active band in a while, and really starting the band, I guess, is like really influenced the idea from like groups like Death Clock or Beelzebubs, who started out as like a cartoon or like not a real band, but I guess like a product. Into a band, because they are playing live shows now and stuff. I'd love to get to that point one day. Just incorporating like more of me and like what I want into the business, so I can just get up and love what I do continually.
So let's go. If you don't mind, just go back an inch. So you were touring with what bands? Were you a tech, or what were you doing there?
I was selling merch.
Oh, that's your merch.
Typically.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I was playing in my own band.
Yeah, because I was going to say, so did you start a music project to accompany the tea? Or, I mean, I know that music is a big part of your life. So how did that happen? What happened there?
Oh, yeah. So it's been a tea company for the past 3.5 years, pretty much exclusively. There is no music. But I guess like it was always like pretty music adjacent, because we do a lot of like collaborative tea blends with like bands like Cradle of Filth, Bloodbath, etc., like
Midnight.
Metal bands.
Yeah.
Midnight, yeah, for sure. And just like I'd wanted to, instead of always having to be, not that I don't love collabing with bands, but I just wanted to be like a self-sustaining entity in that like sense. So like instead of always collaborating, like people would hear our music and also just be curious about the tea once we started putting out music. Not that the songs are about tea necessarily,
no, of course not. But you take the lyrics, you know, the titles of the tracks from your tea blends. And now, did you want to bring tea to a new generation, or was it because so many bands are now doing, say, things like coffee, that you thought tea deserves some like evil infusion?
No, totally. I think it's like kind of, and then especially like in Western culture here, I think tea is still like kind of, people are pretty hesitant about it because coffee is like way more prevalent overall, I think.
You're talking to a Brit, mate. You're talking to a Brit.
Yeah. But like in Canada and the US, it seems
course.
Like people are pretty like, they're used to seeing the bands with the coffees and stuff. And I know like some bands are starting to do tea. I've seen a couple black metal bands with tea blends. But I think still like even now, like the blends we released this year with bands, you see the reaction from some of their fans, and people are kind of weirded out still. But I think that the reaction is pretty positive overall. But I think there is like a big like an opportunity there where there isn't a lot of people doing it. I don't
Yeah.
think,
Yeah, no,
as
not
far
at
as
all.
I know.
The first time I've seen it.
Cool. Yeah, it's awesome. So hopefully, yeah, just like really introducing tea to like a more alt community that
Mm.
will get introduced to via the collaborations or even our own music, hopefully, and get hooked on it that way. Then it looks, and just like aesthetically, I think like a lot of people are drawn first for their barrier of entry into tea from like a black tea bag with their favorite band on it than like a box of Liptons
Yeah.
from the grocery aisle.
Yeah, of course. Now, as a Brit, obviously, tea's in my blood. When did you develop a taste for it?
Yeah, when I was like starting this, I was definitely a coffee person first. I wanted to start. I originally thought I was going to start a coffee company, but it seemed like coffee culture was way more snobby, and I was
Mm.
really intimidated. But then you learn, because I knew nothing about tea at the time. Like you learn that tea is essentially a very similar way,
Yeah.
depending on what crowd you're like marketing towards. I was visiting my dad who lives in Portugal. He had a friend has a tea field out there,
Mhm.
and just like talking with him, it kind of got me like interested, and kind of like thinking about how I wanted to brand this the gap where there wasn't really an alternative heavy metal tea company out there. So I just kind of like eyes closed jumped into the tea without
Yeah.
really knowing much about it in 2017.
So, what's your favorite blend out of your whole selection? Because you've got some
Uh,
wicked names.
Thank you. Yeah, my favorite one is kind of like the funny one. It's just vanilla Earl Grey or like creme de Earl Grey.
Oh, that's a bit tame, mate.
I'm pretty, yeah, I'm pretty basic. When it comes to my staple blends, like in everyday, like I like a strong English breakfast or a vanilla Earl Grey. Like that's
Yeah.
like the one I'm most commonly drinking. My favorite blend that we've made, just because I think it's the most fun, is the one we made with Twin Temple, which was like a beet blood chai tea, which
Yeah.
just like turns super red. And with a band like Twin Temple who spits blood on their crowd every day, it
Yeah,
just
of
seemed
course.
like a really good fit.
I saw them with Ghost recently, actually, in Vienna.
Oh, that's awesome. I wish I could have. One day they'll come to Canada.
Yeah, they're brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So let's get on to the music side. I mean, it's also, I hate to use the word blend because it's going to blend between music and tea and everything else that you do. The music,
Sure.
you've released a single, Blood Drenched Torture Chamber, a few weeks ago. How's the response been? And also, I read the description of that actual blend of tea that you're doing. It actually sounds delicious.
No, yeah, it was actually really inspired because we had from the Twin Temple tea, we just kind of just added chocolate to it.
Yeah, that's what that
Um,
fascinates me.
Yeah, so yeah, it's super good. The chocolate works really well with the beet and the chai flavors. It turns blood red just like the Twin Temple one, and it fits with the song and music video. I think the reaction's been like way more positive than I was
Mm.
thinking. Like I know a lot of like strict metalheads and stuff will probably, it gets like a cringy knee jerk reaction when you hear a tea company is starting a death metal band. It's just a lot of like descriptor words you don't usually see
Yeah.
when you hear about a new band, which I think makes people stop for a second. But I think there's like there's value in that pause
Mm,
when you have to make a decision. But it'll either if it's good or bad, it'll make you remember
of
what we're
course.
trying to do, and hopefully it'll make you visit it later on, and maybe you will like it because I think the song is awesome and a lot of
Oh,
fun. People will have. It's been way more positive than I thought, and we've had it's like from new fans and our existing customers or like social media followers. It's been really positive so far. So I'm like really grateful and thankful for all that. Hopefully they
mm.
like the new shit we're coming out with soon.
We'll get into that as well. So the music, albeit, you're having fun with it and trying to be extreme for extreme's sake. But on the flip side, I've read that it's quite therapeutic for you and helping you deal with some personal issues, which you brought to this track. Am I right?
No, yeah, totally. It's something I didn't really realize was like such a staple in my mental health because I've been in active bands for so long. And then kind of like about a year before the pandemic hit, the band I was in touring then kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic hit, obviously, and then all creative musical outlets kind of died down. And I really felt that just like that whole time away, I had like my mental health was definitely deteriorating. Definitely went and talked to someone, started seeing a therapist. That really helps a lot. But
Mm.
then there's just like key outlets to like get out some of that aggression and just have that outlet. So starting to record the music and working with like a producer and stuff, just like feeling the notable change in my outlook and my attitude and just like my general mood day to day,
Mm.
being able to work on that sort
Mm.
of thing and
Mm.
grind it out. It definitely helped a lot. Yeah, I think it's like something that we're going to keep incorporating moving forward because
Yeah.
not just for the company, but for like for my own
Good.
well-being, I think.
Of course, that's where it's got to start from, isn't it? And the video has a great twist at the end, which reminded me akin to something like Prodigy's "Smack My Bitch Up." Tell me about it.
The end of the video.
Yeah, yeah, it was like, with you didn't expect that to be the ending, like without spoiling it for anyone. It's like when you watch Prodigy's "Smack My Bitch Up," it's the girl in the video she's a reflection of herself, and then you using the hammer at the end. Someone you think you're killing somebody, but it's actually your emotions and yourself.
No, yeah, totally. So like, yeah, you're just I'm in the blood drenched torture chamber, um, about to like, yeah, just that's yeah. It was basically a big reflection of just like how I was feeling
Mm.
leading up to writing this and like putting it out. Definitely like where my mental state was.
Mm.
Just like everything just seems to be closing in. Like life's full of peaks and valleys, right? But the valleys kind of seemed much longer and darker and deeper,
Mm.
especially during that time.
Mm.
And there wasn't really like any major cause to it. I guess like obviously global pandemic, not
Mm.
making music anymore. Like everyone's going through a similar thing, but it just like was really getting pretty rough.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just seemed, yeah, super self-inflicting. So in the end, it was just like worst case scenario. I was the one being tortured in the blood drenched torture chamber. I was the one getting murdered in the end because I was just doing it to myself, or like my mind is doing this to itself because of the circumstances it's just in my life.
Yeah. So what's your musical background? Where did the taste develop and what's the plan? I mean, what's your metal journey? Where did it start off and where are you now?
Probably, I grew up in a Christian church and Christian school. There was like one girl who was in like, I was in grade 7 or something, and she was in grade 11, and she was trying to get people to join her alt screamo band.
Hmm.
And I was playing bass in the school jazz band, so I just like it was a natural kind of I'll play bass for this. I was listening to like Blink-182 then. She introduced me to like Papa Roach, I guess. That'd
Yeah.
be like my first inkling of stuff when I was like in grade 7-ish. Then yeah, just like I think the progression of band just got heavier and heavier. The next one was like a screamo band, then uh, another like super metal band. Then when I started meeting, when I graduated high school, um, I found like, or I guess it was like grade 11 or 10 or something, just like through the internet, MySpace and Nextopia, social media platforms back then. You just
Yeah.
like find people in your age group,
Yeah.
trying to do certain things. Like I think MySpace was
Yeah.
like a big
Classic.
discovery of
Oh
like
yeah.
death
Yeah.
deathcore and grindcore.
Mm.
Was probably my introduction there, and just trying to like sound like that. Yeah, I was like started my first touring band probably 17 or 18.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I guess the rest is history.
Yeah.
Then we started touring, and then as soon as you start, I think once you like have a taste for that sort of life,
Yeah. Absolutely.
and people are reacting positively to that. It's like very
Oh,
addicting,
of
and
course it is. Yeah.
it
Of
hasn't
course it
yeah,
is.
it hasn't really stopped up until recently. So I'm like trying to kickstart that again.
Yeah. So we'll come back to the music, but you've just mentioned you brought up in like a very Christian family and school. From your socials, it's clear you're anti-organized religion and the satanic thing. I assume it's similar to that of the Satanic Temple, just putting the finger up to the establishment as opposed to doing rituals, right?
Yeah, totally. Like I wouldn't say we're independent Satanists, not part of like the PST or anything like that. Though they are, I respect that. I just don't want to be a part of the group, I guess.
No, yeah, understand.
um,
Yeah,
but it is in that same vein for sure. It's just like anti-establishment and just trying to like separate and make aware that there are other choices, even like within Satanism. I think people think it's you have to belong one way or another, or
Mm.
it's the TST or nothing, or the Satanic Church or nothing, or the people who actually worship Satan and stuff like that. I think there's like a disconnect to just like having better values and living according to that way, as opposed to like making some big deal. But we kind of try and make a spectacle of it because it's just fun.
Yeah, of course. It certainly is. Now, I'm just going to ask you off the record, or on the record, because I want to keep this in. What new bands are doing it for you now? I mean, what new bands? And give me some classic, like, black death metal bands that probably brought you into the darker, more extreme stuff.
I would say Cattle Decapitation was probably one of the first super extreme bands.
Yeah.
I was getting into Animosity when they were first starting out. Job for a Cowboy. A lot of like the early deathcore bands, I think, was like my really entryway to extreme metal. Like it was probably deathcore and some death metal bands like Cattle Decapitation first, and then it kind of branched out into more death metal purists. Like Suffocation, etc. Yeah, it was definitely Cattle Decapitation. It was probably the first extreme metal band that I was like, I want to learn vocals like this, and like I want to do what he's doing, because Travis is an incredible vocalist. As far as like new bands now, I'd say like some of my favorite new bands now are like 200 Stab Wounds, Undeath. I just heard this like band called Snuffed on Sight that's like very reminiscent of like the MySpace grind that I grew up with.
Yeah.
Stuff like a lot of stuff that Maggot Stomp Records is doing is kind of just like very nostalgic, I feel, from the smaller bands that were on MySpace back in the day.
Mm-hmm. So talking about bands, are you going to get a band together, or is it going to be just like this project you bring people in, and will there be shows, etc.?
There's no like plan at the moment to like rush into playing live shows. I would like definitely hope that that's going to be the end goal for this. Like right now we're just like really busy finishing our EP and just filming music videos for each song, just so it's like a really cohesive, I guess like less cohesive, but just like lots of visual aspects to go, because the way we've always like been was like pushing stuff on Instagram, on TikTok. So it's always been like super visual with us, promoting wise. And I want that to reflect in like the music as well, and have like proper video visualizations with each song. I would love, once the EP is out, whenever that is, to get the band together, because we have musicians that are ready to go and like willing to do it. Just there's no plan yet at the moment, but I would love for there to be live shows maybe a year or so from now.
I can imagine. I mean, in your head now, how do you envisage like a Satanic Tea Co show to be like? Because I mean, I've got an idea, but what are you thinking?
Yeah, I guess it would be like very showy, like be lots of theatrics, I would hope, and a lot of blood on stage, whatever's allowed, I guess. It would be like I want it to be very performance based, like a ghost performance where they have like so much extra stuff. You know what I mean? Like there's just so much more than just like 5 dudes on stage playing music, which is great, and I love that. But I want this to be like a ghost Alice Cooper type theatrical type of thing, like, but like death metal, the ghost of, or the death metal ghost. And I can just be like the end goal.
I can just picture your merch table right now, and you coming out after the show, like giving fans like tastes of the teas. It'd be brilliant.
No, right, totally.
Give them a masterclass. You give them a masterclass.
Yeah, just a little workshop.
Now, with obviously your image and what you're portraying and everything, what's the strangest thing someone has said about you? Is there anything? Is it too soon to ask that question, or?
Oh no, people say lots of strange things. Like, I used to wear this gimp mask a lot for the promotions. I used to like not really show my face, because TikTok has their really crazy rules. I did not wear the mask anymore because there's a lot of our videos are getting taken down for sexual content, even though it was just
a mask.
But yeah, we'd get like many solicitations on Instagram for like sexual services, because people didn't really understand what it was, or getting invited to sex clubs here in Calgary just because of what it looks like. But in the end, it's just like, we're like, not that I have anything against that at all, but it's just kind of odd to
Yeah.
thinking about like the nuts and bolts. Like we're a tea company getting invited to sex clubs, like in town and stuff. So that's like pretty odd, I would say, as far as
Well,
things go.
talking about strange things like that, there's a photo I want to see that you should do in the future. I'm sure you got it in mind. Like, have you heard of the Women's Institute in the UK? It's like this, like, lot of old women. I think they did the film Calendar Girls about it. Like, the old women, they make cakes and they drink tea and they sit in church halls. That would be the best picture of you sat there in your gear, church hall, bunting the lot, and these old women sipping tea with you. You've got to make that. You got to make that shot happen.
No, yeah, I would love that. Just
I
like,
want that.
yeah, just I think that's like a big part of like the juxtaposition of this.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah, totally. Tell me about this OnlyFans thing. What's that about?
oh, yeah, I guess that started like that was like product of the pandemic. Because yeah, on my social media, like I don't really play my personal self. It's always been like even on my quote personal quote account, it's like it's me as Crucifix, who I am with the tea company. It's not like my birth name.
Yeah.
I don't really show much personal life stuff there. It's all tea related.
Yeah.
So I had a friend who said I should try just like starting a subscription page like that because I lost my kitchen job at the beginning of the pandemic. Yeah, times were tough, obviously, trying anything, and I just didn't really care.
Yeah.
Nice way to make money. So yeah, started the OnlyFans as Crucifix. I do play myself. I guess I probably play myself more there than any other social media platform.
Right. Okay.
Not Crucifix, just like Crucifix and my birth self, I guess. And yeah, just like if people want to see my personal tea bag, they can like go and see that as they can see that as well. There's options.
Is it cool playing Crucifix? Is that like the great alter ego? Is it easy to get into that role?
Yeah, because I think like overall, I'm just it is I don't think I'm putting like a very big role on. Like it is very much who I am and like just a more extroverted version. Because like in my personal life, I'm extremely introverted. I have high anxiety. I have a lot of stress like all the time, and it takes a lot for me to like get out and do certain things. So like as Crucifix, it's kind of like an invincible type of feeling. It's just very easy just to like get into that, just to kind of switch into that mindset. You put the mask on, you put the paint on, and then you can just step into this whole type of person who is just like, I guess deep down who it is the way I am normally, but I can express it a lot easier and more articulately as Crucifix, I think.
Now, with that in mind, how can us guys here in Europe, and obviously the US people listening to this, they can get it easily. Can we get your tea over here?
Yeah, you definitely can get our tea over there. We ship over there.
Cool.
The shipping cost varies, but there is one cheap option without tracking that's like the cheapest. It doesn't come with tracking, but there is a tracking option.
Cool.
There's no official Europe store yet, but hopefully we'll partner with someone in the coming months to make that easier.
Now, would you ever consider an alcohol? And if so, which one?
Oh, we actually have. We partnered with a local brewery here.
Oh, right. Okay.
With our Cryptopsy. Yeah, we did a Cryptopsy Satanic Tea beer sour with
that sounds cool.
A blend here. But I would love to do like just a hard iced tea or something like that.
Yeah. That would be cool.
I think it would be really cool with like even like a smoked lapsang vodka drink. I think would be really fun.
That'd be really cool
and on brand.
Yeah, that'd be very cool.
One day.
Now, finally, you said recently this is just the beginning, and you're excited for the future. Tell me about the plan. What's next on the horizon for you guys?
So we have a second song coming out. I'm not sure when. Hopefully soon. I think it's going to be soon, depending on certain things. I guess. Just like I don't know how much I'm allowed to say.
Sure.
The song is called Human Tea. It features a prominent death metal vocalist from one of the classic death metal bands.
Awesome.
So that should be very exciting. The music video is super fun. And then we're working on an EP, a 5-song EP, with music videos to go with the songs that will probably be out early next year.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be a third single out this year, but for sure at least one more single. I would love to hope that if people react positively to the EP, we'll start playing shows at some point, but I don't know There's no plans for that yet, but that's the definite goal.
I'm expecting big things, mate. Now, Crucifix, thanks so much for the chat. I'm looking forward to seeing how things develop for you, mate.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a great time being here.